let us put it this, if one holds negative thoughts, shall we say, to a different, a person of a different culture, then you open up gateways in one's own psyche. And shall we say there are what are often referred to as inorganic forms. These are often also known as psychic entities and so forth that latch on. Such beings as such do not occupy a physicality as such, so they do not feed on physical food, as you know it. They feed on energetic food.
Okay.
So if one, shall we say, opens the door disliking somebody for whatever reasons, whatever differences one perceives they have, shall we say, then one opens the doorway for food for such elementary beings which will latch on and suckle, of course. And in doing so, they will provoke greater forms. Shall we say, they will begin to evoke even greater dislike and eventually hatred, which of course is an exact increase of the energetic flow. So they feed more and more of the body's energy. One begins to become depleted, and as such, one will also maintain that one's personal depletion of energy is due to the very thing that you hate. In other words, more and more of the energy is fed to the inorganic being, which grows in size, grows in importance until it consumes one's whole energetic reserve. As such a reserve is, shall we say, consumed, one will find it harder to get up in the morning, one will find it harder to hold a positive attitude, depressions and mental disturbances increase, and eventually, under, shall we say, the worst of conditions, one might begin to take actions and violence against that which is seen to be the source of the problem. You understand? So the sin that was warned against is indeed invoking the wrath of God. In other words, everything has consequence. So, shall we say, if you open yourself up to, shall we look at the other side of this, if one starts to feel that one wants more of something, then you open the door to desire. And the more you desire, the more the non-organic entities attach, and so on. So then you become addicted to the need, as if you are feeding something inside of yourself, then, shall we say, something external that has attached itself to the energetic system. Is what you would call a psychic parasite.
Yeah. So if the negative thoughts are opening a gateway in order for these entities Could it be negative thoughts of self? So if we are having negative thoughts that may lead to some level of dislike or hatred for self?
Of course. That is often more obviously the case. Many people project their self-disgust
Sure.
out onto others. And so, in effect, they are opening the gateway of both sides of the feeding. Frenzy, you understand, shall we say, there are parallels in nature to, shall we say, show such patterns. That is, the frenzies of feeding, so often associated with your sharks and with your hyenas and so forth. The bird world also has the same. Even the bats have, shall we say, feeding frenzies of that which is captured.
Thanks for watching. We hope this content resonates and with your help raises planetary awareness. If you're interested, join our database to receive exclusive access to full-length video content. Go to channelingmercredan.com/subscribe or click the link in this video's description.